Alrighty, so for those of you who watched me shoot Staball Match in the 6GT before, I've been a little bit disappointed with the accuracy potential. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to load up some of the Berger 108 grain Bowtail hollow points with Staball Match CCI number 450 primers at 35.5 grains. So this is just a little higher than we shot in the last video, but we had some issues with some hang fires with some of our lower loads, so I think going up a little bit is going to help with that. Now we're going to go ahead and start out at the same overall length we used in the last video at 2.532, and we're going to go ahead and kind of tune this or kind of check for some accuracy potential at 200 yards. We're going to go ahead and go shorter. We're going to start out cartridge based ogive at 1.992, then go to 1.988, then 1.984 and 1.980. So you could go ahead and subtract that off the cartridge overall length to estimate cartridge overall length, but we measure based ogive when doing this test. So let's get out on the range. We're going to shoot at 200 yards, 3-shot groups. We're going to see how they do. I just had 12 rounds left before I needed to do brass prep again, so I thought this would be a good opportunity to test. So let's hit the range. Alright, we're out here on the range. Target is at 200 yards. Those orange circles are 1 inch. This is my Seekins Havoc hit, chambered in 6GT. We're shooting the overall lengths you see on the target there, just to see if we can kind of tune this load with Staball Match just a little bit. We are getting velocity through our lab radar, and I did go ahead and dial up the scope about 4/10. That should get us pretty close there, and the gun is cold. It has 5 shots on it since it's been clean. So we'll go ahead and we'll start shortest. We'll start at our longest overall length and work our way up. And it's actually a really nice day today. There's almost no wind. It's cold. It's not very sunny, so there's not much mirage. So it really should be a perfect day to shoot 200 yards. So we'll see how they group here. Okay, first one here. Okay, so we're a little high, but that's okay. I'll move the scope down after our first 3-shot group here. Not a good start. Maybe the scope wasn't high. Alright, so we're getting those issues we were having before with Staball Match. We are getting hang fires. Pretty obvious ones with that load. Now I bumped up the charge a little bit. Yeah, and our velocity was all over the place, which makes sense because we're getting those weird hang fires. Alright, let's see if, as we move shorter in overall length, let's see if that goes away. Well, that sucks. Alright, shorter in overall length here. Okay, no hang fire on that one. So weirdly, those 3 we didn't get any hang fire. So I think I'm going to give up on Staball and the GT. It's the only cartridge that I've ever experienced a hang fire in, and the only powder. So those 3 averaged 29-31, extreme spread at 29, and 16 SD. So again, we're really not getting consistent ignition. You know, we're reasonably hot. We're 2,930 feet per second. So let's go ahead and move on across there. So be careful using a Staball in the GT. Seems to not want to play real nice. Alright, so that one we had a solid velocity numbers there. 29.19 with a 4 SD and a 7 extreme spread. Still kind of strung them kind of vertically though. Alright, so shortest was our best overall length, which that kind of makes sense. You know, if you think if we shorten the overall length, that's going to be less powder capacity, so it should lead to less of those hang fires. But again, I don't really want to go any faster than this. I'm happy with 2920, 2930 for my 6GT with that bullet. And so I don't really want to push up with our charge. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and probably write this powder off with 6GT. Just too much case capacity, I think, for a ball powder at this rate. Alrighty, so taking a look at our brass here, left to right, longest to shortest overall length. As you can tell, there's really no signs of pressure here. I think these are very mild loads. Obviously with our 2917, we could probably push this up to maybe 3,000 feet per second. But again, with our issues we were having with our hang fires, our primer strikes looks good. They look good across the board. They look just like they normally do in my 6GT. So I think it's just a matter of case capacity, burn rate, and how hard it is to get this powder to light. These are Magnum primers, so you wouldn't expect to have these issues, but that just shows you have to go out and test. Alright, so taking a look at our target, it's actually a little bit better than I would have expected, especially because the hang fires were so severe on those, well, the first group and a little bit on the second group as well. Now, our first overall length, we shot 2924 feet per second, obviously a terrible SD at 30.5, big time hang fires, but the group is still sub MOA at 1.6 inches at 200 yards. So, you know, it looks like the Bergers are still trying to fight and shoot, even though the powder's not doing its job. Then we move down to the shorter overall length. Hang fires got a little better, 2931 feet per second. Again, poor velocity consistency at 16.1. Group size looks good though at 0.78. Moving across to our shorter overall length here. Now this is the first one I couldn't detect any hang fires. Now that's not to say that they still weren't happening, but we averaged 2919 feet per second, a really good 4.0 SD and a 1.27 inch group at 200 yards. But again, I think this is a little misleading because of the small sample size. I still don't think we're getting consistent ignition. The last group of the day there is our most impressive group for size. We shot 2917 feet per second, 10.8 SD, and a 0.42 inch 3-shot group at 200 yards. So what is this, close to quarter MOA? So obviously the powder will shoot consistent group size. So at least we did prove that you can shoot some really good groups with Staball Match, but hang fires are continuing to be an issue. I think we have too much powder capacity for the powder that we're loading up. Now we are loading 35.5 grains, which is more than what we usually do, but this being a ball powder, it's taking up less space in the case than Berger, and I think we just need to throw this out when it comes to this combination in 6GT. Let me know what you guys think as far as the hang fires. Obviously we could probably switch primers, switch brass or something like that, but I really don't want anything that's got the potential of hang fire. I think the cool weather today made it worse, but again, sometimes that happens whenever you go off book. There is no load data for 6GT for Staball Match, and maybe this is why. It just doesn't take up enough room in the case, and it's too hard to light. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks for subscribing, and we'll see you next time.